Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Happy New Year to you. However, it wasn't Happy New Year for a lot of places all over the world. And, I mean, you guys saw that right there. The opening video was of New Orleans on Bourbon Street. And, it was absolutely disgusting and appalling to see what you just saw. But like I said, it goes to show you, the social media society we're living in. And that guy filming the video, it was almost like it was like a fun joke to him, But again, we live in such a safe society now that the idea of violence happening in a scale like that doesn't seem real. For most people, the first reaction isn't whenever they hear gunshots to drop to the floor, duck, and cover. It's, is this really happening to me right now? So I can't be super critical of it, but it's not just Bourbon Street that this happened at. There was just recently a nightclub was found to be shot up, right, Chad? You were saying something about that this morning?
Yes, a nightclub in Queens, New York, or Queens nightclub or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like shooting of like four individuals shot a group of individuals outside this club. I guess it was privately rented out, so it sounds like it was kind of a planned attack.
As well as Elon Musk, or not Elon Musk, a Tesla truck was parked outside of a Donald Trump hotel in Las Vegas and exploded. Don't know if that was intentional. It looked pretty intentional. I guess it could just be a defect within the car. If it's a defect within the car, boy, Tesla owners are about to be crapping their pants.
Teslas will just randomly combust because those batteries will just explode. Remember, some of the scariest things that I ever had to deal with was when my mom's car broke down, or I should say our mom's car broke down, and we didn't know what was wrong. And when she opened up the hood, her battery had exploded. And we're just talking about one of the, the regular standard car batteries. What can you imagine when your entire car is a battery?
Chrysler Town and Country battery explodes. So think about it that way. So we don't know, but it looked like there might have been some type of improvised explosive devices in the back of the Tesla. Like there was definitely something in the back of the trunk of the Tesla truck, but I'm not for certain. So it could just be the car itself exploded, in which case Tesla stock is about to drop and Elon Musk is not going to be very happy. So that happened as well. We don't know if it was intentional or not. That one's still under pending investigation. And there was also explosions all over Berlin. Like there were planted explosive devices all over Berlin, whether or not they were just fireworks in the back of trucks, but they were all timed all around the city. So, Chad, we have video of that footage. We have video footage of that as well that we'll show.
Yes.
But again, the reason we started with this one, the New Year's, the Bourbon Street one, is because if it wasn't for local people like the video you just saw filming it, I guarantee you they would not have had anything come out about the shooter and who he is. So we know that he is a former Army veteran, but clearly he was domestically radicalized because he had an ISIS flag. And what was crazy was the police got wrapped up that ISIS flag so quick. That was like the first thing they did. Instead of rendering aid, it's like, hide that ISIS flag, quick. Yeah. And then they had the interviews of the FBI going, we're not saying this is we're investigating as a terrorist, but we're not saying it's a terrorist thing. Well, they had an ISIS flag in the back, so you're not investigating as a terrorist thing. This is a terrorist thing.
Yeah, it is right here. I'll pull that up real quick.
Yeah.
Patrick said, we'll
make sure I've got sound on there. I do.
Be taking over the investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found. And we are working on confirming if it's a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street, specifically from Canal Street to St. Anne. That is my ask. Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne until we can figure out what is going on. Our goal is to provide you additional information at the 11 a.m. press conference. Kirkpatrick said,
I'm wondering how she got appointed to that position. Do you think it was DEI, or do you think she's actually the most qualified person in the job? Because if that was her spokesperson abilities, my God, she was terrible.
I'd say it's DEI because she's too young.
Yeah.
She's way too young. Like every single FBI, the spokesperson like that you see is a
in their 40s
veteran,
yeah.
like 40s, 50 plus.
Yeah.
And they're like, hello,
she's a pretty face. Put her out there. She's a pretty DEI face. Put her out there. Yeah. So, again, they got rid of that ISIS flag on the back of that truck first thing. They did. And it again, You know, it's like you know what's amazing is, we know everything there is to know about Luigi Mangione now.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it amazing when the shooter's a white guy? We have his manifesto, we have the murder weapon, we have everything. What about the kid that shot Trump? We know nothing about him. What about the weird guy that tried to shoot Trump on the golf course? We don't know anything about him. They hid the manifesto of the Christian school shooter for a year before we let us see anything. And yeah, here's some more footage of the aftermath. I mean, like I said, again, if it was not for people like this, just because, thank God it was so, I mean, I don't thank God that it was crowded there, but I'm thankful that these people were there to film the aftermath of it all. Otherwise, the FBI'd keep this under the bush. You know, it's like it's hush hush. Like we can't let anyone know anything about this. We don't want. We have to protect our little innocent baby angel, Islamic terrorists. We don't want people to have undue hate or mistrust of the Islamic community. It's like, why? There is something very wrong in Islam. And if we don't ever address it, if we don't allow ourselves to have a conversation about what's wrong with Islam, this is only going to keep getting worse. Mm-hmm. And there is a cure to Islam. It's called Christianity. But yeah, this reminded me, like, when we were talking about this yesterday, like, if you can find that Tucker Carlson meme.
Yeah, it's right up here. Hang on, and there it is.
Okay, so read this, Chad.
All right. An American man born in Texas mowed down 10 people in New Orleans. His name was Shamsud Din Jabbar. And it's Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Again, that picture of Tucker Carlson says it all right there. It's just like, hey, what the heck's going on here? Like, he's an American-born citizen named Shamsud Din Jabbar. That's a heck of an American name. Again, but isn't Muhammad's the most common name in Britain right now, in the UK? Like, that's how sad and lost their society is right now. And again, this is where we're going. So this reminded me of the time that Auntie Ann Coulter went on Bill Maher. First time, her most viral run was when she predicted Donald Trump to be the president. Yep. She was like, of the declared candidates, Donald Trump will be the next president. Everyone laughed at her. She went on again after, like, it was actually the
Kansas City shooter, the Kansas City parade shooters.
Yes, the Kansas City parade. Yeah, nobody remembers anything about that because, again,
It was two black gang youths that were attacking each other, and the media kept it super hush-hush.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk about it. So here's Ann Coulter on Bill Maher basically proving our point. Like, this is what we're talking about when we say we know everything there is to know about shooters when they're white and male. And whenever they're any other race, any other ethnicity, or if they're not a man, there's nothing about it. That's because more than likely they were on the FBI's radar. They already knew everything there was to know about these people, and they did nothing. Mm-hmm. And they know that it's going to be their fault or somebody's fault in the FBI. Mm-hmm. So just check this out. And again, this right here sums up perfectly what's going to be happening over the next couple of days.
Still, as of nearly a week later from the Kansas City Chiefs parade shooting, we don't know who the shooters were. Typically, it's released as soon as the shooters are arrested, but have you noticed a trend if the shooter isn't a Republican or isn't white? They actively suppress that information until like a year later.
I mean, we don't know who did this shooting, by the way, the Super Bowl shooting.
We have some idea.
What?
If it were a white man shooting, we'd know.
Well, we don't know.
That's how we know it's not a white man. I can tell you that much.
Do you think they were repressing that reporting?
They wouldn't tell us about the transgender woman that shot up the Christian school for like a year? Oh, San Bernardino out here. Remember the crazy terrorist Muslims? That's when I first noticed, they're not telling us who it is. It's not a white male. The longer they go without telling you, it's not a white male.
Still, as of nearly a week later from the...
It's always amazing to me whenever they always have some MSNBC or CNN, like, black person, liberal hack on the show whenever Ann Coulter's on. And they always say like Joy Reid was one that laughing at Ann Coulter whenever
she said Trump was going to win.
And now they had Van Jones on there going, and he literally said shortly after, he goes, I don't know how she can tell the future, and everyone laughed at her. And it's just like, how do you not? I mean, it's obvious when they don't report on this stuff. And again, people on the left will always just be like, you don't know that. The FBI might have
the key words to clue in on when the police or FBI is coming in on one of these shooters. They go, we don't want to jump to conclusions, or we don't want to we don't want to stereotype anything, or that means 100% that it's probably whatever they're saying, whatever you're assuming it is probably exactly what it is, and they're trying to play cover.
Again, it's like the shooter, the Kansas City shooters. It's like going, two unidentified males of unknown age and origin fired shots at each other. It's like, two unknown males. It's like, but whenever anything else comes out, it's like going, white male, white male, white male. And again, it's the double standard of the media. They want so desperately for white people to be the perpetrators that they are just that they will put out misinformation or disinformation. And if it's anyone else, it's like, no. It's those innocent baby angel Aladdins. It was racism that caused them to do this. It was white supremacy that caused them to do this. I guarantee it was not white supremacy that caused this guy to fly an ISIS flag and drive into the crowded Bourbon Street area. So, what you got pulled up there?
I was pulling up the suspects from it. Well, one of 3 men charged with murder, alleged in Kansas City. Okay. I mean, I didn't mean for none of this to happen. I'm truly sorry that woman had to lose her life. Dominique Miller told Fox. Dominique Miller. We can kind of assume with that name who that is, because of course they don't show any pictures. And that's part of the process that we're talking about. Like, if they were anybody else, their pictures would be all over the media.
Well, if they were one race, one ethnicity, their pictures would be all over the place. If they're not, it's not a race thing.
There it is. Pull it up on Google search, you can finally get it.
Yep.
Good Lord. Yeah, but anyway.
So again, we have an Islamic radicalism problem in the world right now. And this guy, Jabbar here, is living proof of that. I mean, Army veteran. Served our country. There is a radical Islamic problem in this country, around the world, globally. But, I mean, again, paradise awaits this guy. Paradise waits. 40 virgins await this man in the afterlife. He will live with throbbing erections in the land of milk and honey now. I mean, that is Islam is the only religion that offers carnal pleasures as a benefit to dying. So again, it's, if you believe, that's not a bad thing. He'll be serviced by 40 virgins in the afterlife. And you wonder why these people are so eager to fly planes into buildings. Why they're so eager to clap off a vest at an Ariana Grande concert. They don't care. Their paradise is, it's a land of milk and honey and carnal pleasures. He'll live in the land of milk and honey with a throbbing erection with those 40 virgins. It's scary, man. Very, very scary. We have a problem with radical Islam in this country, and this proves it. And if you can, Chad, find me those the detonations of all those bombs in Berlin. I know I have sent you a video of that.
Right here.
Oh, perfect.
Go ahead and pull these up real quick.
Yeah,
we'll play
awesome.
the sound real quick.
Yeah. Definitely some normal fireworks put in there as well. You can tell with the screen.
But, it's like, it's always the exact same, group of people. I mean, what's going on? There's only one religion that attacks all other religions and communities for celebrating holidays.
Yeah.
For having the nerve to celebrate their holidays.
Yeah. Public drunkenness. Like, I mean, that's all haram, in their culture and in their societies. So you have these radical cells come in. You have these military-age males come in. They're not getting access to women like they thought they would. They're not living the Instagram, TikTok life that they thought they'd be leading. These girls aren't like, it's not like the way it is they portray in the movies. Like, oh, German girls love foreign guys. Not really. They only like rich, wealthy foreign guys. You are a guy that came here on a boat, not a yacht, not a private plane. Mm-hmm. You have nothing to offer this girl. So what do you do when you come here expecting something? Your expectations are not what you thought that it was going to be. You're still getting free housing and food and healthcare based on the taxpayers of that local community and that country, but it's not working out the way you thought it would. The girls aren't flocking to you. So what do? They have their New Year's, rape party, but there was only a handful of girls, and you only get to have your way with them for so long before the rest of the mob takes her away from you and somebody else gets to do it. So this is a problem within their culture, within their society, within their religion. So there's a lot wrong right now in the world, and I think Islam's going to be a big part of the problem. Islam is probably one of the biggest parts of the problem, but again, we're not willing to have that conversation. Especially not at the FBI. Again, we're so the Islamic rape gangs. What the movie Taken was about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like 1,500 girls were trafficked in underground sex trafficking rings, used and abused by thousands of Pakistani Islamic men, and none of them got justice because the police, the investigative bureaus over there in the UK were too afraid of being called racist. Okay? Like, whenever you're prosecuting crimes, the race of the person who perpetrated it doesn't matter. The crime is the crime. I don't care that they're Pakistani Muslims. Now, I recognize that there is a problem with the culture they come from, but the crime is the crime, and the law should be laid down on them the way the law is laid down on citizens.
Which brings me to the next meme, which is a good segue into that. Canadian school cancels event with ISIS survivor Nadia Moran because her harrowing description of torture and rape would be offensive to Muslims and foster Islamophobia. So the truth will cause resentment towards another group of people. So therefore, it has to be censored, even though it's 100% true.
This is what happened to me because of radical Islamists. Well, we don't want people in this country or kids to hear about the horrors that Islam. We just want them to know the good stuff about Islam. It's like, what good stuff? I mean, the only good stuff that can come from Islam is basically a form of structure and, encouraging certain behaviors that are like fasting, praying, things like that. Those are the only good things that come from Islam, the structure it gives some men. Mm-hmm. But it also gives them plenty of excuses to do horrible things.
Yeah. And it just even comes to the fact of what we were talking about, like regarding the immigration. Is like this guy was American-born citizen. His parents clearly were not. So he's struggling with an identity crisis, clearly, mm-hmm. or at least a religious identity crisis. Mm-hmm. And it kind of brings up this meme that I found the other day. Hilarious. An Indian IT career shrewdly climbs the American corporate ladder, becomes the CEO, takes over a company, fires 900 Americans over a Zoom call, and then hires 1,000 Indians in India. Americans' diversity is strength.
Again, folks, this is what's coming. You get somebody at the top of the ladder, and they go, why would I hire Americans who are going to piss, moan, and complain every step of the way when I could hire a bunch of Indians who are going to do the job for half the pay, not complain, and be completely content having working for an American company? Again, immigrants who come to this country rarely actually care about the country or the values of this country. They just care about the opportunities that this country can afford them. Do you think that they have read all the founding documents? Do you think that they really care about George Washington and the history of this nation? No. They are here for the economic opportunities.
Yeah.
Your culture, the history of this country, be damned.
Mm-hmm.
It is about making as much money and screwing over as many people as they can to get to the top. It is a rat race to the top. Again, we all look at it this way. It's like corporations are all corporation-y and it's a rat race to the top. It's no different with you, me, and all the people around us. That's why you have to care about the people in your community. That's why you have to care about your family. You have to care about the people in your social circles. If you care about the people that you affect, you will not want to screw them over because you will suffer the communal ramifications of that.
Yep.
You don't want to be as successful as Bill Gates, and then Bill Gates, that's why all these billionaires are like, I'm a citizen of the world. I'm a global citizen. That's because they don't have to be held accountable. Imagine if somebody here in Owasso had a factory or something, and had half the people hired, and he goes, you know what? I'm going to get a bunch of illegal immigrants to come do this job. and he fires half the staff of people in Owasso, hires a bunch of illegal immigrants from wherever to come here. We get a bunch of cheap housing coming in here. That guy would have to live in this community with us as an Owasso citizen, and then they'd all have to be like, "You suck, dude. You fired me, and you hired a bunch of illegal immigrants and you were doing the same job that I had to do for half the pay." If you don't have a civic responsibility to your fellow citizens, then you can justify doing anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So again, yeah, sorry about that. That's another tangent. But again,
brings me to the next meme that I have here. It's the Statue of Liberty. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. And then it shows a person, homeless, kind of looks like Islamist supporter, setting her on fire. And she's like, WTF.
Yeah. I mean, that is a perfect meme right there. That sums up exactly what's going on in this country. Exactly what I'm talking about. The rat race to the top. These people, the people that are coming here, were told that they were going to get a bunch of free shit. And they're not wrong. But guess what? Now they're getting a bunch of free shit. They're getting free food. They're getting free housing. And now they're bored. And what do you think bored people do? A man who has too much time on his hands is a problem.
Yeah. And then, same problem right here on this next one that you sent me.
Oh, yeah, look at this future doctor. Check this video out.
Yeah, this guy right here, just in, 23-year-old.
Watch this.
Kaleem Hawkins charged with attempted murder after pushing a random man in front of a moving train in Manhattan. The incident happened in the 18th Street station this afternoon. Police say 45-year-old victim expected to survive only suffered a head injury. Thank God.
Watch this. Watch. You can actually see it. Watch. So they're going to go to the right. You have the guy who's sitting there in the yellow jacket getting ready to get on the train, pushed right in front of the train by this guy. I wonder what this future doctor and engineer, I wonder how he's going to benefit our society. I mean, he just got rid of another straight white male productive member of our society. And he's going to be a doctor and a lawyer one day.
Jeez, man, by the looks of it, I wouldn't have known he survived that.
I don't know how you would survive that. I mean, thank God the train was slowing down. That was probably his train he was waiting to get on.
Jesus,
but
that's
I mean,
crazy.
Do you? I mean, again, this is what Vivek and Elon were talking about. He goes, "Oh, look at all these future doctors we got coming here on these H-1B ones." You know, it's like that's what we're talking about right here.
Yeah, look, they even all hopped the cart right there too, not paying the subway fee. I bet you that guy paid the subway fee.
Yeah,
look what he got for his trouble.
Yeah, that guy paid the subway fee, and yeah, he look at that responsible citizen. How dare he? Here's a good one.
Which brings us to the next one.
Stone toss.
Stone toss. This guy goes, "I would like to order corn, please." And the waiter brings it out.
It's a turd
with corn kernels in it. He's like, "Can I get it without the turd? What are you, racist?" This comic is about H-1B visas. Oh, my God.
That's good, man. I mean, that's really good. Again, this is what we're talking about. Like, Sam Hyde, really, like, I mean, if you can, Sam Hyde's a comedian, and
I'll try to pull up his video.
But it was amazing. He gave this little speech about how, you know, everyone says America's an idea. People like, he says, people like Ben Shapiro say America is an idea. It's a set of ideals. And he goes, do you think he thinks that about Israel? Israel's just a set of ideas. Why don't they just open their borders to everybody then? And that meme right there sums up perfectly what Sam Hyde's talking about. We're not just interchangeable beings. If that's the case, every culture everywhere would be equal. It's like what Sam Hyde's hammering home is not all cultures are equal. What I talk about on the show all the time. If all cultures were equal, I could go and live in Afghanistan. And it would be no different than living here in Oklahoma. Like that's what we're talking about here. They go, we're all just interchangeable blank slates. We can bring all the Indians over here and they could just do the same jobs and act and function in society the same way Americans would. That's only if those Indians wanted to be a part of the American experience. Again, we always live and operate under the assumption that people think American values are the best, but they have to have our shared cultural heritage. They have to have our shared historical heritage as well. It's like we were a nation founded on revolution. And a lot of these people coming here, like Hispanic Americans, like they come here and they don't own guns in Mexico, in Brazil. Like they don't have private gun ownership. We do have that here.
Well, this is also what we're talking about. This is why the Democrats want to bring in, and why I have a feeling they want to bring in import a bunch of people and just grant them citizenship. Because if you don't have a firm grasp or understanding of the Constitution and our laws, whatever laws that they pass that take away your rights, they're going to go, I don't know what their rights were to begin with, so why do I care? Exactly.
Why do I care? Yeah, I don't know what my rights are. I don't know what the Constitution is. Most Americans haven't read the Constitution. So what the heck do you think? I mean, even if they haven't read it, they have a basic working knowledge. Like, I mean, you get that, okay, we have the First Amendment, we have the Second Amendment, which is the guns, and we have the freedom of speech. So the First Amendment's first, and the Second Amendment backs up the First Amendment. Okay, I get it. Makes sense. People coming in here who've never had those rights, you don't have to be able to say whatever you want. The government can limit the things we say as long as, we can make money. So anyway, yeah, check out this little clip of Sam Hyde, who just a perfect takedown of Elon Musk, Ben Shapiro, and Vivek. And, and he's really polite about it, too. Like, he goes, people are eager to love you. People are eager to like you. They will forgive you, but don't just dump on them and say that, we can interchange people, no problem. Again, it's like what I tell you. Corporations would train monkeys to do the jobs that we do here. They'd have no problem with that, and they'd pay them bananas, and you and me would starve on the street.
This is only a quick clip from the quarterings version of it. I'll play it real quick.
I think we need to say, if China imports enough Indians, it's like diamonds. It's like nanotechnology. Indians are like nanotechnology. We have to be willing to use nuclear weapons to keep China from getting these precious Indians. That's step one. Sounds right? Because it is. It's subtarded.
That's awesome. Again, if we can just import, seriously, why isn't China rushing to import? It's because China has a cultural heritage. You know what no one asks what a Chinese person is. No one asks what an Indian is. We know what an Indian is, and we know what an Indian looks like. We know what a Chinese person is, and we know what a Chinese person looks like. When you say, what is an American? That's when, you get this whole Ben Shapiro argument. Oh, America's just an idea. Well, it's okay. Well, if that's the case, then why isn't Israel just opening its borders to everybody? It's like, Israel needs to import Indians before America imports them all. It's like, no, because even though China is an evil communist country, they're going to put Chinese citizens first. Now, granted, they can also trample on Chinese citizens' rights, no problem, because it's a communist country. But again, there is no confusion as to what a Chinese person is. There's no confusion of what a Japanese person is. I could move to Japan, marry a Japanese girl, and they would never let me vote in that country, ever. I am a foreigner.
Will these attacks?
I don't even think my first generation kid could vote. I think they would have to. I think maybe my grandkids would have a right to vote in that country, in Japan. But me and my firstborn child, or my first, my kids would never be allowed to vote, even if they're half Japanese. Like, that's what we're talking about here. Like, it's crazy. It's the way we do things in the West, like in Europe and here in the U.S. Like, they do not afford the rights to votes to people who just moved to their countries. They don't do it. So anyway, we were watching the Sean Ryan show the other day, or my buddy actually sent me this clip, my buddy Case, and basically expect more of these terrorist attacks to happen here in the United States, because the ones they've tracked, we know there are at least 1,000 terrorists in this country right now that we know have crossed the southern border. So what's going to happen? Donald Trump's going to start taking this stuff seriously. They came here under the open borders nice guy Joe Biden, and now that their lifestyle is going to be threatened, expect this to happen a lot more.
All right.
So yeah, just watch this clip.
Attack.
Well, the 1,000 is all of them. So we're calling it's an Al-Qaeda planned attack, but within those 1,000 terrorists, some of them are ISIS because they want ISIS to be blamed. I think the more of the fighter types are going to be ISIS, because then if they're caught, then they talk. I'm ISIS. I think more of the suicide bombers are going to be Al-Qaeda.
You think these attacks will happen simultaneously throughout the United States, or will they be one day here, next day here, another one over here next week?
So they want them coordinated. I don't know if coordinated means all at the same time, or if coordinated means we do it Monday, we do it Tuesday, we do it Wednesday, we do it Thursday, we do it Friday, just do 5 straight days.
It doesn't matter. It's just
but they want it coordinated.
What kind of places do you think they're going to target?
So This is what's complicated. So Al-Qaeda's preference, as you can imagine, is symbols of the U.S. or anything that causes economic damage, right? So capital is a great symbol. I feel like bridges or any kind of public transportation always matters because it puts costs against us and it causes fear. But here's where it gets complicated. So remember, the terrorists might have their goal is they're going to attack the metro in DC, right? But remember, some of these terrorists are going to be ISIS. And
how many fighters do you think we can expect in each attack?
Well, the 1,000 is all of them. So we're calling it's an Al-Qaeda planned attack, but within those 1,000.
So that she just kind of goes into her numbers. I think it's way more than 1,000. I'm sure more than 1,000 ISIS. And again, the guys that they sent here might not just be the attackers. It might be the recruiters and the trainers as well. Again, and I think you're going to see a lot more terrorist attacks here in the U.S. this year and all throughout Trump's presidency. And they're going to blame Trump, saying this is his fault. It's his rhetoric that's causing this. No, it's not. It was Joe Biden. So we have to remember this. Whenever these terrorist attacks occur, it's not Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault because he allowed the open borders. He allowed these people to get let in easily. I mean, we showed you that video months ago of that guy crossing the border, that Islamic guy that they were like, he was like a Hezbollah leader or something like that. He goes, You don't know who I am, but soon you will know who I am. Mm-hmm. You know, like he was literally mocking the camera guy. He goes, you are a weak country and you will regret letting me get here. You know, it's like, that's what's happening. That guy's here training, putting infrastructure, helping plan stuff out. And is everything going to go according to plan? No. Like some people will act on their own. Some will be bigger, more. But I mean, it's going to happen a lot throughout Trump's presidency. And again, the left will blame Trump going, this is his fault. It's because of his rhetoric. But it's not. It's because of weak border policy is the reason that these people are here. And the reason a lot more people are going to die in the next couple of years because of radical terrorists.
Mm-hmm. So, and I haven't found this one myself. This is one I posted, similar to the one that you did, but difference. Like, he scares the crap out of me. Right here, says, it scares the crap out of me. The CIA targeter discussed the next enemy attack on American soil.
Yeah.
Do you think these attacks will happen simultaneously throughout the United States? Or will they be one day here, next day here, another one over here next week?
So they want them coordinated. I don't know if coordinated means all at the same time, or if coordinated means we do it Monday, we do it Tuesday, we do it Wednesday, we do it Thursday, we do it Friday, we just do 5 straight days. So, but they want it coordinated. What's coordinated mean? And the other argument we have, does coordinated also mean U.S. and Europe at the same time? And is Europe all coordinated at the same time? So when they say coordinated,
this is kind of like what we just talked about. Think about that. We just had New Year's Eve in Germany, in Berlin, and then we just had a New Year's Eve attack at New Orleans on Bourbon Street, and then we had the Trump hotel in what's it called in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
those are 3 coordinated. And what I think that one was probably gang related by the sounds of it, because it sounds like it was a private party. It's not like it was a huge event, but who knows? I mean, that's also we don't know anything about that.
Hey, again, the year just started. I mean, the Islamic terrorists, like, you know, it's going to be like remember back in the day in 2017 whenever they were having all those Islamic terror attacks in the UK so much. It's like going pretty soon the leading cause of global warming will be candlelight vigils.
Yeah.
You remember that meme?
Yeah, I do.
Because somebody better tell the climate activists that the bleeding cause of global warming is going to be candlelight vigils after all these Islamic terrorist attacks.
Let me see if they bring up anything else like relevant, like talking about coordinated efforts.
Know exactly what that means. So they could also be U.S. and Europe at the same time.
Which we just saw that.
Complicated.
Do you think Europe will see mass casualties, or earlier you kind of mentioned that you think that the primary target in Europe is still U.S. embassies?
No, that's for the wave. So remember, there's a wave of embassy attacks, but then there's this multi-coordinated attack. It's a completely separate wave of attacks. So they're going to get the same October 7th attack in Europe as we're getting in the U.S., as planned right now anyway. And they also, so 1,000 terrorists were supposedly trained for the U.S. and deployed, and 1,000 were supposedly trained for the Europe attack and deployed. The embassy plots are completely different with completely different trained terrorists.
And again, you don't think that those terrorists, those thousands that entered these nations, weren't in those economic migrant caravans?
And again, you know what's crazy too is, you know, like this is like the liberal left wing philosophy. It's like, oh well, we just let them in and they'll get jobs and they'll be happy and they'll never want to do that stuff. It's like going, why would they want to come here, work their tails off in order to be productive members of society when, again, in Islam, you are guaranteed 40 virgins and to live in the land and the rivers of milk and honey with throbbing erections for the rest of your life as long as you blow yourself up in the name of Muhammad and Allah. It's like, what do you want to do? Do I want to take the quick, easy way out, or do I want to work hard, develop discipline and good habits, and become a productive member of society? Or do I want to just blow myself up and do it the quick way? Because, again, the vast majority of people are not going to become the next Elon Musk. They're not going to become the next Vivek Ramaswamy. The vast majority of people are going to get here and become slave labor to whatever job that they get imported to.
Yep.
Like that's what that's what the H-1B1 is. It's like that cartoon where the guy was going, "Can I get it without the crap?" It's like, no, you can't. Because they're coming here, they're going to go to their job and go, "Do you want to keep your visa?" Well, then I think you better not negotiate your salary. In fact, why don't we pay you less this year? All right, fair enough. I'll do it. I'm just happy to be here in America. So,
man, why haven't they hit yet?
Because the training takes the time. So for
they're
Israel,
here. They're here though.
Supposedly, yeah.
Okay,
They got here.
Let me ask, how long have they been here?
I'm not sure, but if we just do math quick, okay? Israel, they trained 500 terrorists, right? They got a longer timeline, but they were planning to train 500 in 3 months, right? 2 months. So they're going to train 500 in 2 months for Israel. So for Israel, they did it really quick, but it would have been half-assed. They luckily ended up with a year and a half. But then remember, I told you they had to train 10,000 for Syria. And I think that gets completely ignored, okay? So they have this huge number, and we just saw
It's what happened with Syria. When they're talking about what just happened in Syria, the huge civil uprising against, what's his name?
Assad.
effect of it, right? So the 10,000 for Syria, and some went to Iraq, became the priority. And then we think the homeland attackers were in there. And then that's training's done too, if that makes sense. So they are training for multiple phases at the same time. So it takes time to get through all the training.
Man, this stuff scares the shit out of me. What do you think? Okay, you had mentioned earlier, we just got done talking about the significance of October 7th. How many other dates are there that it could potentially, if they're looking for that kind of, symbology or whatever you want to call it, how many dates are we looking at? Is it too many are there too many significant dates throughout the 20 years that we were over there that we can't, we can't, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know you're
How
saying.
many dates are we looking at here?
Yeah,
Is it impossible? Is there 365? Is every day of the year after 20 years a potential date? Or are there some specific hard dates that you think that federal, state, local government should be looking at?
Sure. Well, I think if we just talk about the October 7th investigation we did, we actually discussed 3 dates. We discussed the significance of October 7th being the day we started Operation Enduring Freedom. Remember when I said they started training in August?
I hear that they chose October 7th because that's the day that we started Operation Enduring Freedom. Yep. So they choose dates that are significant. And I think they talk about 9/11 and a couple other ones. And like 9/11, how everyone's just like they assumed it was 9/11 because 9/11 is 9/11. She has a completely different
take on
that. It's crazy.
Yes, they actually started training on August 7th. They chose August 7th because that was the anniversary of the Tanzania and Kenya embassy bombings, okay? So they did choose even a historic date to start training, okay? And then when you go to 9/11, the majority of Americans, I don't even think the majority of the U.S. government knows why 9/11 was chosen. You'll get these stupid theories. It would start the school year, or 11 means Allah, or something like that. It comes from 9/11, 1922, and it was basically kind of, after the time of the British Mandate. And that was the first day they basically took a Westerner and said, this Westerner, he ended up being a British and Jewish, you are in charge of kind of like this Palestinian type of mandate. And Al-Qaeda had cared about a date from 1922, and that's why they chose 9/11 to attack us. So
no matter where you're watching,
had to do with the British allocation of
mandates,
what Palestine, or what that whole area of the Gaza and Israel, all that area. That's why they chose that date, not because 9/11 is 9/11.
Yeah.
Stuff like, that's what I always heard as a kid. Like, oh, they chose 9/11 because 911. We call 911. It's an emergency.
Again, that's just silly, hearsay stuff that you hear. And again, it's sad what the world's come to. But again, we have a problem with Islamic terrorism. We have a problem with the religion of Islam. And again, Democrats want to hand wave it away. Oh, we can figure this out. They just need jobs in the Middle East. If they just need jobs in the Middle East, why the hell are they coming here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not about that. Like, these people are believers. It's like, again, the left doesn't view religious or religiosity as a hallmark of belief. They go, that's not good enough reason for them to do this. There has to be a chemical reason why they're doing that. It's like, I don't know. eternal salvation and living in the land of milk and honey with a throbbing erection, as a person, as a selfish person, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound too bad, man. Hell, I'll blow myself up for that. I get 42 virgins and live in the land of milk and honey. Like, this is great. Like, why wouldn't you do that? It's like, do you want to sit here and toil and work hard every day of your life? Or do you want to be a hero? Yeah. And again, and this is what your culture is going to bring. This is what immigration brings. This is the culture of immigration right here, folks. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Look how culturally enriching this is, man. I wonder where this future doctor or lawyer is going to be in a couple of years.
You know? Oh my God! But no, like I said, at least he has the grace to, unlike those heathens in San Francisco. At least he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing the try. Yeah, he's doing half the work for him. God bless this guy.
He bags his own.
He does bag his own shit. Yeah, man, that's great. That's great, man. Yeah, this guy, he's going places. This future doctor's going places, man. He's gonna be the next Elon Musk right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah. But that's really all I have, man. Like, unless you have any other thing.
No, that's the video I was planning. You having us into this on? Yeah, no. So, again, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. I know that I hope you had a good time locally with your family and friends. Again, I didn't even stay up for the new year. I fell asleep early, and I run and I do all kinds of working out, so I wear myself out. I don't waste my time drinking and doing the party stuff anymore. It's just a waste of time, and alcohol is poison. So, but yeah. Everyone, I want you to have a happy new year. But again, we wanted to keep you informed of what's going on. And like I said, again, it was not a good new year for a lot of people. So, be vigilant and be vigilant because, I think this is the first of many more terrorist attacks to come. And, I think it's like what they say in Batman, the night, it's always darkest just before the dawn. So it's going to get worse before it gets better, everybody. And something tells me it's going to get worse real quick the minute Donald Trump takes office because people are going to start making moves. And Donald Trump had already been almost assassinated twice now, or 3 times because they had the Iranian attempt as well. Mm-hmm. We had the Ukraine attempt from that guy on the golf course. You had the Iranian attempt that got stopped way before anything allegedly happened. Then you had the random kid, at the speech that he gave where he had the iconic photo, But, it's going to get worse before it gets better, folks. So, don't expect Donald Trump is not the guy that's going to solve all the problems of the world, but I think he is a step in the right direction. And I'm glad it seems like Elon Musk and Vivek are taking a step back on the H-1B1. They're saying they're still for it, but maybe they'll reconsider their aggressiveness about doing it. But again, is that just them placating to the crowd, and then behind the scenes they'll just be like, nope, keep it, write it in the law. That's my concern. And that should be everybody's concern. Again, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Vivek, they're not Jesus. They're not offering you salvation. They're just placating their egos and what's going to help them financially or reputationally, So they're not your saviors. Just don't pretend like they are.
Yeah.
They are good steps in the right directions, and we pray that they have the humility to see when they make a mistake or a misstep and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe we should focus on problems here instead of importing another working class group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, that's about all we've got for you today. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that is all we've got for you today. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
Yeah, so for all of you who are making predictions that the New Orleans car rammer was Muslim, you probably feel pretty dumb right now, don't you? Clearly, Shamsuddin Jabbar, which is actually a very common American name, was a white nationalist, and radical Islamic ideology has nothing to do with it. But he had an ISIS flag. Nice try. That was a pirate flag because Shamsud was actually a huge fan of Captain Jack Sparrow. Shame on all of you for your Islamophobia. Do better. Yeah, so